G'day, I'm Wallace Long and welcome to Great Golfing Road Trips Australia, where we uncover quality, accessible golf courses within easy driving distance of Australia's capital cities, along with the local intel on where to play, dine, stay and what's worth seeing while you're there. Today's episode is all about food, and in particular, one chef who's doing something a little unexpected, running a restaurant inside a regional golf club. My guest is chef and teacher Cat Clarke from the Dimboola Golf Club. You'll hear how she found her way there, her philosophy of showcasing local produce and native ingredients in a simple, considered way, and why there's so much more to her story than you might expect. One theme kept coming up throughout our conversation, a genuine passion for using food as a way to bring people together. Settle in and enjoy the next 30 minutes with Cat Clarke. I'm here in Watchabolic country with chef and teacher Cat Clarke at Dimboola Golf Club, just after we'd done the Wimmera Golf Trail with Cameron Howell, which is Horsham, Nill, Dimboola and Warrackinville golf clubs. And soon after, Cat Clarke took up residency here as the chef. So I was intrigued at the beginning to obviously speak with Cat. A few years later, after doing some reading and also listening to a few podcasts that she's been on, I really wanted to have a deep conversation because there's so much more to Cat than just setting up a restaurant in a golf club. Cat, welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you for hanging out with me on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
It's a glorious day. The
so
golfers
nice.
have just headed
Yes, they
off.
have.
I've just met, you've introduced me to Nick, the president, who
Yeah.
seems like a good guy. I'm not sure, he's a bit busy, so I'm not sure how his golf's going to go today. You know? You'll probably have to pivot a bit. So, Kat, a couple of years ago we were here and the inside of the club rooms were very, very different to the way they are now. Well, how did all this come about?
We moved to Dimboola in the 80s. My dad was on the railways. Dad was part of the golf club growing up, like with me growing up, not with him growing up, of course. And so we spent a lot of Saturday evenings out here. The round tables over there, I think they're the original. Spent a lot of time probably falling asleep waiting for the parents to finish up with the golf nights back in the 80s and 90s. Loved Dimboola on Watchabolic country. Very lucky to have grown up here. And for those that do know my story, I've moved around a lot, but I've been home for about 5 years now. And I have a beautiful son, Paddy, and he'll be 21 this year. So he left, put his wings out. He's doing his thing. And because I'm a sole single parent, so I've always done my catering and teaching and provided for my son. And when he left, I thought, I think now's the chance to give it a go with the restaurant. Before the golf club, I'd been doing pop-up lunches at my house, growing what foods I could there, incorporating them in dishes and opening up my home, and usually to about 20 to 25 people. And then things started to pick up and I was still teaching and I'm like, well, this is great. But then, and I went and saw my accountant and he was like, Kat, you've got to leap into it, like give it a go. And as we know, I don't like owing a lot of money. And I think if you go into business and you're already so far out of pocket, it can be you've already got that stress and pressure. I knew what I could afford. I looked at some places down the main street. They wanted a lot for rent. There was no your fixings with your plumbing and etc. And then early one morning in August, I woke up and I went, the golf club. So I contacted Jo, who's on the committee, and I said, I've got this idea. What do you think? She goes, I'll put it to the committee. And then she put it to the committee. And then I came out and we spoke. We all had a good chat. And I said, the only way this is going to be able to work is if we're all on board. I said, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And it was pretty much smooth sailing. So I think we had our first meeting in September and I had the restaurant open by the end of November.
Wow.
Yeah. When I'm focused, I'm focused. And it was so much support from the committee members as well to tidying up around. Place wasn't a mess, but it had just been it
was well loved. I mean, when we came past, a couple of years ago, just before you came on board, the inside here was a typical country clubhouse.
Yeah, so it was filled with all the round tables and
all
the
the
brown
round
chairs.
tables, and it had all the memorabilia, all the boards. It wasn't bright and fresh like it is now. Describe for me the inside here, because this looks amazing.
Thank you. Everything in the restaurant doesn't match like my personality. I like to reuse items that are out there rather than purchase new. The guests going out to another restaurant with beautiful furniture, that's fantastic. I've collected a lot of the chairs and tables and crockery and cutlery from many garage sales. A lot of farming estates, like with families, they know that I reuse things, so they'll contact me, "Hey, Kat, do you want this?" I might bring it in. And then if I don't know that, I always move stuff forward. So if I've been given things, it gets moved forward. And it might not be that piece of furniture or something, but it might be something else. And I'm like, if I can, yeah.
This podcast is about golf courses and golf travel. So this
and
is
I
now,
used to play golf as well when I was a
used
kid.
to?
Yeah, when I was a teenager.
Well, we'd classify you as a golfer then.
Yeah.
Still a golfer. This podcast is around golf travel, getting
Yes.
people out of the cities to the regional areas. Have you had many golfers or many people from the cities that have come here to experience your restaurant?
Yes. So people have either I'm not new at the game, if that makes sense. So people that have watched my journey, and then if their husband plays golf, like we had a beautiful family like last Easter, and they came out, and then the families went out for a hit of golf, but they weren't first thing in the morning, and then came for lunch. It was really nice. We've had, we're going into the autumn and the spring's the best time out here. Days like today, like just sitting outside and enjoying the scenery out here.
16 degrees. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's
sunny,
gorgeous.
and the golfers are about to have an amazing time. Cat, bush food and native Australian ingredients are a big part of the food that you create. Where did that start for you?
Curiosity and being curious about the ingredients that are grown around us, asking questions, curious to know how, what was being grown, how people survived, and then learning. I was teaching up at the Dimboola High School and walked past some saltbush. Someone had explained what saltbush was to me. I had no idea. And then I got curious, more curious. Through that, I started asking more questions. So this is going back about 2010, which is a couple of years ago. And we'd have some elders come in to talk with, if I was taking a year 8 or year 9 food class, try to incorporate that because with the food design back in the day, it was students had to have a study brief and had to design something. So I always tried to create my own design brief to incorporate that. Learning from there, and then so that was in Dimboola. So only wattle seed and saltbush was the first to be introduced to myself. And then I had the opportunity to teach up at Tully, far north Queensland. And through the high school up there, I think there was about 750 pupils. So I went from a school down here from, I think it was 250 to 750 up there. And very, very, very lucky. I had a beautiful teacher's aide, Tonya Grant. And Tonya Grant worked with the Gerrigan Corporation, which is the Aboriginal corporation up there. So through that, I was introduced to Auntie Jean Thaiday and Uncle Daniel Beeran. And so I was teaching food up there, connected with the kids up there. And I was like, I want to learn more. This is like going up from dry country down here to nearly rainforest up there. And I was like, this vegetation is out of control. What is growing, what is bits and pieces, and then went out to the nursery down in Cardwell and met, Auntie Jean and Uncle Daniel, and then we had a meeting, and I just said, look, can we do this? I would love to learn more and get the kids connected more on food. And the first ingredient that I was introduced to and worked with up there was the Burdekin plum. So the Burdekin plum grows from Burdekin Way upwards. I have planted a Burdekin tree at the front of my house, and I'm hopeful that, it will survive. I'm very, when you taste something or you work with something or you can create something and it actually imprints, like the Burdekin plum up there for me was it. And we made beautiful relishes. Then we had the Gerrigan Aboriginal Corporation work. Like, I sat many board meetings to get permissions with what I was doing to make sure that it was the correct way. There would be some things that I wasn't allowed to share, and that's completely fine. That's cultural significance. That's not mine to share. But what I could, I would. And the students were amazing. And my attendance, like they talk about with schooling and education, like about attendance. My attendance was one of the highest rates for when my lessons were on. And it was very creative. And how do you say this? I would jiggle how to measure someone on their abilities, not what a paper should tell them if they're successful or not. So that was, I was really, really lucky. And we ended up hosting dinners for the community that would come in. Our last dinner that we had was called the Deadly Bush Foods Dinner, and we had 200 members. We had elders come into the school grounds that hadn't even walked in there since they were kids themselves. I had 20-odd community kids waitering that weren't in my classroom but wanted to be a part of this event. And it was showcasing the produce around there, as well as the Gerrigan Aboriginal Corporation and their work, and also how exciting food can be when it's shared.
So it sounds like this sense of food for you is a real connector. And those children that were interested, what was it that you think that sparked their interest? Was it your passion for and desire to actually educate? Because you're a trained teacher and a trained chef.
I think that's an element to it, but also an element to that everyone's going to succeed in my classroom as well. Like, you can't measure everyone the same. So, and look, there's a lot of elements that go into all children's worlds before they even get into the classroom. So, teaching through food, and there was no shame with any of the kids that come up. They wouldn't say much, but I knew that they needed support that day with food. No questions asked. And, I'd be called into the principal's office going, Cat, like, there's too many kids at your, in your kitchen at lunchtime. I'm like, there's nothing wrong, mate. There's nothing wrong. Like, that's
a good thing.
Yes.
Cat, and since you've been back in Dimboola, you've done some projects with the Gulum Aboriginal Cooperative.
Yes, so we've done a sisters cooking group where I've had some of the beautiful ladies come out, and we did a cook up and sat down and had lunch together, which is great. And also do small cooking classes with the Budja Corporation out at Horse Gap, and work with the stall group as well. Yeah, I'm still learning, and there's a lot of information that was lost. So, and I think working together and using the oldest ingredients on country is a very magical opportunity. So, and to celebrate all the time as well.
One of the things that struck me was the bird baths, which the Dimboola Memorial Secondary College.
How cool is that?
Yeah, well, it is cool, and I'm really interested to know how that came about.
Through my socials, because we're on tank water out at the golf club and 2-phase power. So it's character building. So I bring out a lot of water from my rainwater tanks in town, and I had purchased a bird bath and put one under the tree. And the art teacher, Lou Simpson, had seen that, and then she had to do a project with her Year 12 students last year. So through that, with that Year 12 group, they had created quite a few bird baths and worked beautifully on them, and they're out in the front garden, and they've filled up every other day. I haven't done it this morning, so the birds are probably grumpy with me. But adding water back, especially, it was after the bushfires as well. We had the bushfires here last year, and we lost a lot of wildlife, and we did what we could as part of the restaurant and the golf club to support life coming back around the area. So, yeah.
Let's jump back to the experience that somebody would have coming to dine here. What's the menu look like? I think you mentioned not everything is bush food, but could you explain the type of menu that they may experience?
Depends on my personality that week. No.
And I think also you've mentioned before when we've chatted about it's seasonal produce.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So is everything local, the produce?
As much as I can get. I have a beautiful farmer out the road, Anna, with Lagon Farm. So she's dropped off for me yesterday zucchinis, tomatoes, potatoes and celeriac. So those items are on the menu this week. The celeriac will be on tomorrow's Chef's Table luncheon. And I work with the local butcher over at Warwick Nabil and Horsham. I purchase what I can off local businesses, but I'm very limited. I don't have the opportunity to go to markets to help my creativity to go, what do I feel like making? Whereas we did a Black and Ginger, who's their winery friends of mine over at Pomona the other week, and I had a bit of a creative blank. So I'd messaged Anna and she said, I've got this. And I'm like, cool. And that was the key to start to design the menu. Working through the seasons and understanding what's available and figuring out what to do with the ingredients and showcasing them, because they're only in season for a short amount of time and then they're gone. So, yeah.
So do you have any, say for example, if somebody's coming this week, what would they experience?
We've got the semolina gnocchi back on, and then I've confied some of Anna's tomatoes. We've got duck from out at Love a Duck, and they're also being confied. That must be my favourite method today. And that's an orange sauce spin-off, but I've got fennel and I've got orange as well. So that's going to be a salad to go with that. I've got quinces that have been dropped off to me as well. So we've got poached quinces. Pomegranates I've just picked from my tree this morning. So that'd be added to our saltbush lamb dish as well.
And just overall, what would be some of the bush foods that people would experience here in your recipes?
At the moment, we have quandongs. So they're a native to this area. So they're a parasite tree as well. So they actually need another tree to draw life from to produce a fruit. They are very expensive, but they are rich in vitamin C. The seeds are used for jewellery making with a lot of different mobs as well. And have you ever seen?
I have. I've seen them up north on the way up to the Flinders Ranges.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think they've got them up there as well. But first time I'd really seen them. Yeah,
so there's a blue quandong up in far north Queensland in the rainforest area. Well, I tried to work with them with the students, but just they're not as palatable as what they are. They're more like a peach, down here. And we've also got saltbush warrigal greens, which are growing at the front, sea blight, which is another herb, samphire, but I've used all my samphire that's growing out in the garden here. So samphire grows around the Pink Lake, the salty lakes,
which I drove past this morning.
And Geraldton wax. Have you had Geraldton wax?
I have not. No.
So I'll give you a taste when we finish this.
Beautiful. Yeah. Now you mentioned the garden. Can you talk? I know you've put a garden in. Can you tell me about that?
So my friend Clarke over at Adelaide, he grows bush foods, and we thought it would be really fun to do.
Is he down at Wollonga?
Yeah, near there.
Near Wollonga. Yeah, close to the sea, I think.
Crikey's Tucker.
Crikey's Tucker. Yeah. I did see a video of him in researching you, and he just seems like such a passionate guy.
And he's got a wealth of knowledge and very passionate about produce. So he came over and we did a workshop. I don't know how many we ended up with that day. I think maybe 20. And we all got in and planted the garden, and people were able to take some plants home, and it's just flourished. So I'll show you some before photos to what we had.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. So you will use a lot of that, obviously, in your cooking, and that's year round.
Yes. Yeah. So the bower spinach, which is the cousin to the warrigal green, we use a lot of that. I had it on with the steak that we had, because we had a pepperberry steak on, but I'd used too much of that spinach, so I've let it go, and now it's gone crazy again, which is great.
What's your favourite dish that you prepare?
Oh, everything. I love my food, but I don't desire my food.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Let me rephrase that. This month,
Yeah.
what are your top three? What are the top three that you've enjoyed preparing?
I think that's a better question for my staff because I love watching my staff taste different things that I've made. Yeah, because the menu changes a lot. It just depends.
So it would change weekly?
Most dishes do. I was getting to the point where I was changing too much each week. And when I had an apprentice on at the time, like it was too much for us to keep up with. We did have more people coming out at that stage as well, but just minimising the elements to no more than 5. Like it should be kept at 3 for me dishing up. Because as I said before, like we are on 2-phase power, so we're very limited with the equipment that we have out there. So I have 4 gas burners, a domestic oven, a 5-tray convection oven, and then a small deep fryer. That's all I have. But I create delicious food.
You do, and I know it's delicious because looking at some of the feedback across multiple platforms have been absolutely blown away by what you've produced. There's been people from New Zealand that have stayed at Dimboola, at the Imaginarium. There's a whole range of different people from across Australia that have been here, and you've become a destination.
Thank you. I enjoy what I do.
With the kitchen here, on top of the work you do at Dimboola, you also do events.
Yes.
And other things. So what else do you do with your cooking?
So I travel and do cooking demonstrations. I've done kids classes as well. I'm starting up a project with some disengaged youth in Horsham soon, so getting them in the kitchen, not here at the premise that's organising it, to learn a bit about basic foods and cooking and shopping and nutrition, looking after I'm
seeing a theme in regards to kitchen, food, children, educating them, and I understand through COVID you created the Junior Chefs Online.
Yes, and it was just a whole lot of fun, and don't get me wrong, I made a lot of mistakes on lives, like forgetting bits and pieces. So at that stage, when COVID started, I was living up in Cairns and I'd spoken to my best mate and he said, they're going to close the borders. And I said, what do you mean? Like, what does that even mean? No, they're not. They can't do that. This is Australia. And then, push came to shove and then Paddy and I moved into my mum's in that first stint. And I was like, this is madness. What can I do? And I said to someone, I might start online classes. And they go, are you nuts? And I'm like, well, I've got something to give. And if no one joins, it's fine. But if it's going to get them people, like, because remember that first stint, we had no structure. No one knew what was happening. So I think we did 5 days a week at 10 a.m. Cooking classes. So what I'd do that night before, and I tried to be really mindful on the ingredients that I was using to make sure that people had access to them, because like everything was going off the shelves, and so if someone didn't have something, like I'd give them a substitute, people would message. And at this stage Paddy would have been, oh gosh, what was he 13 or 14? So imagine a teenage boy going on, like would go live by Instagram, and it was stressful with Paddy sometimes, but then other times, like the kids loved him because he was mucking around in the background while I'm here. I'm going, this is how to, chop up an onion, or when you're doing this or this. And so that was really good. And still to this day, I'll get, not a lot, I don't want to make it sound like a lot, but I have had people go, I don't think you understand how much you helped us out. And just getting the kids engaged. So I've gone back to that because I really enjoy that now, and I don't charge anything for it. It's about a basic necessity skill that should be taught in schools, and kids should have confidence. Once they got confidence in the kitchen, that confidence can come through just so many other aspects. So if I can help a family not worry about what they're going to cook Wednesday nights and they're in the kitchen watching a live and cooking along with myself and whoever else I've got with me, learning a new technique or trying something new. If I can give something, I will.
I noticed that with the most recent one that you did, which was a vegetarian dish and a meat dish, the point you're making is that it's expensive. Food is now expensive. And so if
shocking.
you can assist them, anybody, just to understand food connecting parents and children in
Yes.
preparing, and also them learning skills, but also saving money. I mean, it's a very honourable thing to be doing.
But there's also that other aspect on limiting food waste. The amount of food that is thrown out because people don't know what to do with it. Like even just going, I've got a heap of vegetables that are about to turn, make a soup, make a frittata, like use it up. There's a dish there. And you don't have to have like meat and 3 vegetables every single night. How do you limit that? Like have a couple of, even if we bring, but that's the other thing, tin stuff's going off the shelves at the moment as well. But looking at your prices, looking at how to make food tasty and also nutritious, that's going to be our own, like, not throwback to what's happening, but owning and taking,
Yeah, I think the food waste is an important one. I remember that television show where there was a chef that would go into somebody's house after the people said that we have nothing here, and they'd go into the fridge and the pantry and they'd create something.
Yeah.
I reckon you could do a stream like that.
How cool would that be?
It'd be so good.
Let's do it.
Because I've done that as well. I've given it a go and go, hang on a sec. And now with AI, you put the ingredients into AI. And,
there's nothing like the old school though.
100%. Yeah, but I'm not a chef. I'm not as skilled as you can. So
Let's do that for a challenge. Then.
I think that would be a great challenge.
No, I think it's great. And I think like also like with land waste, students aren't being taught enough. There's a lot of good resources on ABC iView with the food waste and bits and pieces that I have incorporated in my teachings, but people don't understand that you throw it in the rubbish bin, it doesn't like disappear. It goes and sits somewhere, and especially plastic, like it can take up to 140 years to break down. How do we limit that? So I've got chooks, I've got compost. I've got one small red bin that we have with land waste that we get from the restaurant here a week. And I feed our meat scraps to our hawks and our kookaburras and magpies that are at the back. So
they'd love you. I reckon you've probably got very, very bright yellow yolks.
Oh, they are. But I'm not allowed to use my eggs out here. I have to purchase, but
just for family only.
Yes.
You do so many things. You're about to head to the Heritage Harvest in May at Sovereign Hill.
Yes.
For the Heritage Harvest weekend. Can you talk to me about that and your excitement about that?
I just love those guys. Sovereign Hill, the team down there. So this is my 4th year going back. And I don't know, when you don't have, like I've got confidence in what I do, but sometimes I don't have confidence in myself. Like sometimes I feel like I've got a little bit of imposter syndrome, you know, when you're doubting yourself. And every time I turn up to Sovereign Hill, they're just like, Cat, you're back. Like, what are you doing? What do you need? Can I help? And then I'm usually like, after I've finished, I'm like, what do you need? No, nothing. I'm like, come on, give me a job. Like, I want to help out. And yeah, they're just so supportive. I just love Sovereign Hill.
Yeah, you must have a great connection. What are you doing?
This year I'm doing 2 cooking demonstrations, and I'm doing bush foods and Irish food together, my own version. So I'll be demonstrating the Irish soda bread, as well as doing an Irish stew, but with saltbush, and a cold cannon, which is like a mashed potato, but I'm using warrigal greens as well. So that's kind of like my 2 worlds that I am invested in together.
So the Irish is your family history?
Yes, yeah. So it's very lucky. I'm very lucky.
Well, I think the people that are about to see you in May are very lucky too. So I think that would be absolutely fascinating.
If they've been there before, they know I usually get the kids up on stage or I'll just, and there'll be tasters as well. So I'll be cooking off some items a Friday night so people have got some tasters on that Saturday. Yeah.
One of the things I noticed when I was researching is that you mix up your promotion, you do a whole range of different promotional angles and different ideas. From a marketing point of view, I thought, wow, that's so innovative because it keeps creating opportunities for people to engage with you. Is that by design, or is that as a result of the fact that you're creating new recipes and new dishes all the time?
I think that's my head. I think it's just my head. I can't sit still, and I don't like being stale, and I want to keep learning and being innovative, but impacting as in how can I add to other people's worlds.
Fantastic. Recently you were down at the Agrarian Kitchen in Tasmania. Can you talk to me about that? Because obviously that's part of your ongoing education.
Yeah. So Rodney, Rodney Dunn, he's amazing. Like, I've met him before when we did an event over at Corn, the Kwandong Festival over there, and I was like just so inspired by his, I'll say, philosophy, and also his technique and his calming energy. Like, he's, yeah, very connectivity. Like, there was so much to learn, and he's just a great human. Like, yeah, I just wanted to see his, like, have you been there?
I have had
Oh
the good
my
fortune
gosh.
to be there. Yeah, the food is unbelievable.
It's so good.
I think it's an old psychiatry ward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
in the garden.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, I look at my garden. I'm like, yeah, it takes a lot of hands and a big team behind you to pull it off. But he's got a solid team, and that also showcases him as a human and a boss. Like, yeah, which is really cool.
Are there other places you've been to continue your personal education?
Well, I'm heading over to Ireland to jump in JP's kitchen. So JP's an Irish chef over in Galway, and going to jump in his kitchen to learn more about Irish food and, yeah, just get amongst it. Yeah, because and the coolest thing was the other month something came up, and they've got sandfire growing over there, which is, I've got sandfire growing 15K. Like, yeah, it's exciting. Learning about the ingredients, and JP's a wealth of knowledge as well. I've written a lot of books. My comprehension, if it's too many words and my head's busy, I can't concentrate enough to stay focused to read, but I do take snippets. And the good thing with his Irish cookbook is that he'll have small snippets about the heritage of that recipe or where it's come from, like all the acknowledgements. It's really cool.
Yeah, so that's respecting the past.
Yeah.
And the creators,
oh, absolutely. Because everything's been pulled from something. Like, then there's a lot of amazing chefs out there that are creating a lot of dishes, but the methods and the elements have come from somewhere, the base of it. Like, it's, yeah.
It's interesting for me to hear you talk about the fact that you like to continually evolve, explore new things. So I get the impression that you're never going to sit still.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So what's next on the horizon for Cat Clarke?
The future. Well, the present, we've been very lucky and fortunate to have been able to create this space and had so many beautiful customers from various parts of the state as well as the interstate travel and eat with us, and I say with us even if I'm in the kitchen. Various different events around the state and at different festivals, as well as I've got some school events coming up as well. And so I've got those projects on, going to head to Ireland and just looking to evolve into other aspects of the business.
What's coming up for the restaurant and also the events you're doing?
We've got Mother's Day luncheon coming up, so that's a great celebration for all the mums and stepmums and aunts and nans that do come out. It will be on a Sunday, of course, but that's our favourite day to do our lunches, where people come out and we have a chef's table, and it's usually my creative piece on a food journey that you'll sit down and you'll taste all the elements. And we love the chef's tables because when people are leaving, many people do say, there is no way that I would have ordered that, but that was one of my favourite dishes. And it's allowing people to be more optimistic about, what they put in their fork.
Growing up, did you have a mentor, a hero, somebody you looked up to?
Growing up for me, school was really, really hard. I really struggled all the time with school. I had a beautiful history teacher, Dale Conway, who's actually coming out for dinner tonight, which is great. And he could see students for the individual people that they were, and he was very passionate about what he taught, and I understood what he was teaching, and he had our backs at school. For my teaching mentorship, and he's still my mentor because he's an amazing human, is Laurie Mahone, and he used to work for the Victoria University, but I've been many different communities as a support teacher for teacher placements in in Northern Territory, in remote areas. So his work is admirable. Like, I just it's Swell. It's called the Swell Project. It's something to look at. He's fought the system for the right reasons and still continues to do so. I think he's retired, like John Farnham, a few times, then comes back and because he's very passionate about what he does.
If I was to speak with Laurie and ask him about you, what would he say?
He would say things more than likely that would make me feel uncomfortable because I don't know how to take a compliment. But when I'm doubting myself, and because I went through faced with a lot of brick walls in my own teachings through the education system, that he had many, I would call him up for support and he would redirect me on what I was doing was true.
Dale Conway joins me, history teacher to Cat Clarke. Dale, tell me about Cat as a young person.
Look, I got to know Cat fairly well throughout her secondary schooling, and I also had some connections with her family. At one stage, my partner was very ill and I had to go to Melbourne quite regularly, and my stepson, if you like, would stay with the Clarkes. So I had a bit of a background into the family, and then I started to teach Cat at school. She was a really caring person, even at that stage. I mean, you could see she would really absorb things that you tried to explain to her or talk to her about. Probably believed a little too much sometimes of what I would say. You know, she was a really caring person. And I remember particularly I taught Indigenous studies at Year 8 level, and she was really absorbed in that. We went on camps to Halls Gap in the Grampians based on Indigenous studies, and she was very involved in that and really got to know a lot of the Indigenous community within the town, Indigenous families. She was very, as I said, she absorbed a lot. Sometimes probably needed to question things a bit more, but always it was about what was best for people, and not particularly her as such, but for the people around her, the kids around her. She always you could see she would get, whenever a child got upset for some reason or whatever, you could see Cat would be part of it. I mean, she had a great empathy for the other people, the kids around her. She was a good little leader in terms of her group of friends. They worked together on a whole range of different projects. You could always expect that Cat would be prepared to be involved in whatever projects were going, that she was more than happy to be part of it.
Dale, when you look at where Cat is in 2026, she's a teacher and a chef. She has a lot of interests in regards to food and the community. We're here at Dimboola Golf Club at Cat's restaurant. When you look at her now, what do you see?
I still see very much the same Cat in many ways. Very friendly, very hard-working, open to a whole lot of different ideas and prepared to accept different ideas, I think. But yeah, just really capable young person that's very much involved in the community.
Thank you, Dale. Mars Drum, can you tell me about the garden and the influence that Cat and the garden has had on your life?
Cat's shown us through the garden quite a few times when we've been here, and she goes through all the Indigenous plants out there that she's growing here, and she explains what she uses them, which ones we've eaten in what dishes. It's been really exciting because we've gone and sought those. She'll tell us where to buy them, Whale Nursery and the right places, and we're growing some of those plants now, and she's really open about sharing how we cook them, and it's just really nice to have her just so willing to share and her knowledge and demonstrate it to us. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you, Mars. That's lovely. Now, Dale, you've been here several times with a whole range of different groups.
Yes, with different groups. Particularly the biggest one we had recently was the Dimboola District Historical Society. We had our Christmas break-up dinner out here, and even then Cat would go around explaining before each horse, would explain what was involved in the cooking of the meal, what the ingredients were and so on, continually educating people about what she was dishing up to us. And then it just made those evenings much more interesting in terms of you were actually learning things as well as feeding your face or whatever it is.
What did you have this evening and what did you enjoy about it?
I always get arancini balls, always have. Now I'm really stuck on the Irish potato cakes as well for entrees. And normally I'm vegetarian, but tonight I had the lamb because apparently I need more iron. And it was just as well as the taste, the amount that you get, Dale, it's huge. It's like, yeah, more than enough and absolutely delicious. I can't complain about it at all. I just love it.
Did that have pomegranate in it?
Yes. Pomegranate, I can't remember what else was in the sauce, but it was something that was indigenous that was just amazing, yeah. All new flavours.
Dale?
I had the chicken, which I think was with lemon myrtle sauce, zucchini and some other vegetables. Just extremely tasty and very, really well cooked. Lovely.
And we've eaten so much. We ordered dessert, but we've asked to have a rest because that's it. We might have to take them home. It's just been amazing, but we won't want to go home without our desserts as well.
Thanks so much for your time. You are Cat Clarke, teacher and chef. Who's your crew? Who supports you?
Oh, my son. I've got a beautiful best mate that we've been friends since we were in kindergarten. Many friends as well. And I've got, her name's Kylie Charlton. She's out at Garoke. And so I met Kylie, lived next door to them when I started my teaching degree when Paddy was going into prep. So I was accepted into this career change program where they got trade professionals into teaching. And they just took Paddy and I under their wings, and still to this day, she'll jump in wherever, and she usually comes with me to the Sovereign Hill, and it's a barrel of laughs. Yeah.
A hoot of a weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's heaps of fun, and she's also a creative person. She's an art teacher as well, so yeah.
Sounds like a special friend.
Yes, very special.
Cat Clarke, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with me on Saturday and taking a chance on hopefully a good podcast and people have been intrigued in what they've heard.
I think people will find this very interesting. I really appreciate you sharing your story.
You're so welcome.
Trust you enjoyed hearing from Cat about her life and relationship with food. A big thanks to Cat and also to Dale and Mars, especially for being happy to be interviewed over dinner. If you don't know Cat, I encourage you to forage around her website. The link will be in the show notes, along with links to her socials. This is Great Golfing Road Trips Australia. I'm Wallace Long. Thanks for listening.